Two Russian attack submarines shadow USS Montana for 11 days beneath the Arctic ice. American crew detects them at 4:47 a.m. and executes maneuver that forces both Russian boats to surface. The underwater cat-and-mouse game nobody sees determines who actually controls the ocean. November 7, 2025. 4:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 280 nautical miles north of Norway. USS Montana, a Virginia-class attack submarine, detects unusual acoustic signature at bearing 187 degrees. Range, 18,000 meters. Computer analysis identifies twin screw propellers, nuclear reactor cooling pumps, distinctive cavitation pattern. Russian Yasen-class attack submarine, designated contact Sierra 12. But something's wrong. Second acoustic signature appears simultaneously, bearing 194 degrees, range 19,400 meters, another Yasen-class boat, designated Sierra 13. The Americans aren't tracking one Russian submarine, they're being hunted by two, and that changes everything. The stakes exist in silence and shadows. Submarine warfare happens in 3 dimensions beneath the surface where satellites can't see and radars can't reach. Nations position boats to monitor adversary movements, track ballistic missile submarines carrying nuclear weapons, gather intelligence on naval operations, cut undersea communication cables if war erupts. The submarine force that dominates underwater battlespace controls strategic advantage invisible to public. Losing that advantage means losing ability to project power globally. This morning, 280 miles north of Norway, 2 nuclear powers are conducting the most dangerous game in military operations, and only one will surface knowing they won. Captain Dmitry Volkov commanded the Kazan, lead boat of Russia's most advanced attack submarine class. His orders were explicit: track American Virginia-class submarine operating in Arctic approaches, maintain contact for maximum duration, gather acoustic signature data, test American detection capabilities, learn their patrol patterns. The intelligence was worth billions. Kazan displaced 13,800 tons submerged, armed with 32 cruise missiles, 8 torpedo tubes, crew of 90. Cost, $1.6 billion. Russia's answer to American submarine superiority. But answering a question and solving a problem are different things. Volkov had been tracking Montana for 11 days, maintaining 18-kilometer separation, matching course and speed. The Americans showed no indication of detection. Their towed array sonar should have identified Kazan days ago, but Montana continued routine patrol patterns, no evasive maneuvers, no acknowledgement of Russian presence. Either they hadn't detected Kazan, or they were pretending ignorance while planning response. Volkov assumed the former. Russian submarine quieting technology had improved dramatically. Kazan was as silent as American boats, maybe more so. The intelligence report said Virginia-class boats were loudest American submarines in decades. Volkov believed it. His confidence was about to cost him. The second submarine was Novosibirsk, Kazan's sister ship. Commander Alexei Markov coordinated with Volkov. 2 submarines tracking 1 American boat provided redundancy. If Montana maneuvered to evade Kazan, Novosibirsk would maintain contact. Perfect tactical geometry. The Americans were caged, every move monitored, every operation compromised. Russian submarine warfare was finally matching American capability, or so they believed. But what they didn't know was that USS Montana had detected both Russian submarines 9 days earlier, at extreme range. Using classified detection methods neither Russian boat knew existed. The Americans had been running elaborate deception operation, pretending ignorance while mapping Russian acoustic signatures, recording propeller cavitation patterns, analyzing reactor pump frequencies, building intelligence database that would advantage American submarines for decades. And now, after 11 days of gathering data, Montana's captain was ready to demonstrate exactly who controlled undersea warfare. What's your weapon of choice? Type A for stealth and patience. Type B for aggressive maneuvering. Commander Sarah Chen skippered USS Montana. She'd commanded the boat for 18 months. Every crew member was hand-picked, extensively trained. The Virginia-class submarines represented $2.8 billion of American submarine technology. But technology alone didn't win underwater battles. Crew skill, tactical creativity, psychological warfare. Those factors determined outcomes when opponents operated similar capabilities. Chen had spent 11 days studying her Russian shadows, learning their patterns, identifying weaknesses. Now she would exploit them. Montana's sonar capabilities exceeded anything Russian submarines carried. Towed array stretching 2,600 feet behind the boat. Ultra-sensitive hydrophones detecting sounds across 200-kilometer radius. Spherical bow array providing precise bearing resolution. Flank arrays covering blind spots. Computer processing power analyzing acoustic data in real time. The Russians thought they were tracking Montana. Actually, Montana was tracking them with fidelity they couldn't imagine. Chen knew their exact positions, could predict their maneuvers, understood their acoustic signatures better than Russian commanders did. At 4:47 a.m., Chen decided the intelligence gathering was complete. Time to demonstrate American superiority. She ordered tactical action designated Crazy Ivan Plus. Standard Crazy Ivan maneuver involves submarine executing sudden 180-degree turn. Forces any trailing boat to either reveal position or risk collision. Chen's variation was more aggressive. Montana would execute rapid depth change while turning, dropping from 400 meters to 180 meters in 90 seconds while reversing course. The maneuver would force Russian submarines to react. Their reactions would compromise positions. Acoustic signatures would spike, and Montana's sonar would record everything. Executive officer confirmed crew readiness. Diving officer prepared ballast systems. Sonar operator maintained contact on both Russian boats. Chen gave the order at 4:51 a.m. All ahead flank, right full rudder. Make your depth 180 meters. Execute emergency ascent profile. Montana's reactor increased output to maximum. 30,000 horsepower propulsion plant roared to life. The submarine's bow angled upward 15 degrees. Speed increased from 8 knots to 28 knots in 40 seconds. The boat pivoted right while ascending. Textbook execution of maneuver that separates professional crews from amateurs. Kazan's sonar operator detected Montana's course change at 4:51:34 a.m. Contact had been steady for 11 days, now suddenly accelerating and maneuvering. Volkov faced instant decision. Follow the American, risk exposing Kazan's position, or maintain depth and lose contact. Following required matching American ascent profile, increasing speed, breaking sound discipline maintained for 11 days. Everything said, don't follow. But intelligence gathering mission required maintaining contact. Volkov chose to follow. His propulsion plant increased output. Kazan began ascending. Acoustic signature tripled in intensity. Montana's sonar recorded every detail. Novosibirsk detected Montana's maneuvers simultaneously. Markov faced identical decision. He also chose to follow. Both Russian submarines accelerated, ascended, revealed positions. Chen smiled. The Russians had reacted exactly as predicted. Both boats now had compromised acoustic signatures recorded in American database. Their stealth characteristics were catalogued. Future encounters would identify them immediately. The intelligence coup was complete. But Chen wasn't finished. Montana leveled at 180 meters, reduced speed to 12 knots, turned to heading 45 degrees, directly toward the Barents Sea, Russian territorial waters. The maneuver appeared aggressive, provocative. Actually, it was calculated psychology. Chen wanted to see how Russian commanders would react to perceived threat to their home waters. Would they continue tracking, attempt to intercept, report to higher command? Each choice revealed information about Russian submarine doctrine and decision-making processes. What would you have done when the submarine you'd been tracking suddenly detected and maneuvered toward you? Comment your answer below. Volkov realized the situation had reversed. Montana knew Kazan's position, was maneuvering aggressively. Russian boat's advantage was lost. He transmitted encoded acoustic signal to Novosibirsk. Contact aware, breaking contact, resume patrol pattern delta. Both Russian submarines dove to 500 meters, turned away from American boat, attempting to disappear into ocean depths. Standard evasion protocol when stealth is compromised, but diving and running transmitted clear message. Russians acknowledged detection, acknowledged tactical defeat. The underwater game was over. Americans won. Montana's sonar tracked both Russian submarines during their evasion maneuvers, even at 500 meters depth, even attempting silent running. American detection capabilities were simply superior. Chen maintained passive track for another 40 minutes, until Russian boats were 50 kilometers distant. Then she ordered Montana to surface, break through ice, transmit situation report. The surfacing itself sent message. American submarines could operate freely in Arctic waters. Russians couldn't prevent it, couldn't even track American boats reliably. The underwater balance of power was demonstrated clearly. At 6:23 a.m., Montana's sail broke through 1.8 meters of Arctic ice, specialized reinforced conning tower designed specifically for ice penetration. The submarine established communications with U.S. Strategic Command. Detailed report transmitted. 2 Russian Yasen-class submarines tracked for 11 days. Full acoustic signatures recorded. Tactical evasion successfully demonstrated. Intelligence coup completed. Strategic Command acknowledged. Ordered Montana to continue Arctic patrol. The Russians knew they'd been outmatched. Now American command knew the extent of their advantage. Russian Northern Fleet Command received reports from Kazan and Novosibirsk at 7:14 a.m. Moscow time. Both submarines detected by American boat. Mission compromised. Forced to break contact. Admiral Nikolai Yevmenov read the reports with anger and frustration. Russian submarine force had spent $3.2 billion on 2 Yasen-class boats. Deployed them on critical intelligence mission. The boats were supposed to be equivalent to American Virginia-class submarines. Apparently, they weren't. American acoustic technology was better. American sonar processing was superior, and American crews were more skilled. Every assumption about parity in submarine warfare required revision. If this deep dive into submarine operations reveals capabilities you don't hear about in mainstream coverage, take a second to subscribe for detailed military analysis. The intelligence gathered during 11-day tracking operation was processed at multiple facilities. Acoustic signatures analyzed. Propeller cavitation patterns studied. Reactor pump frequencies cataloged. Computer models updated. Every American submarine in the fleet would now recognize Kazan and Novosibirsk acoustic signatures instantly. The 2 Russian boats had lost their stealth permanently. Any future operation would face American submarines knowing exactly what to listen for. The intelligence advantage would last decades, until Russia built entirely new submarine class with different signatures. Chinese submarine force observed the Arctic encounter with professional interest. Beijing had been planning to deploy attack submarines into Arctic waters, contest American and Russian presence. The Montana incident demonstrated that submarine warfare required more than building boats. Required sensor technology Americans possessed, and others didn't. Required crew training that took decades to develop. Required operational doctrine learned through experience. China had submarines, didn't have American-level capability. The gap was larger than Beijing assumed. Arctic submarine operations were postponed indefinitely. NATO submarine commanders received detailed briefing on Montana's operation. Every Allied boat would benefit from Russian acoustic signature data. British Astute-class submarines, French Barracuda-class boats. All would incorporate recordings into their sonar libraries. The intelligence sharing multiplied Montana's success across entire alliance. One American submarine's operation enhanced 47 NATO boats. That network effect was force multiplier Russia couldn't match. Russian submarine doctrine underwent immediate revision. Yasen-class boats were supposed to provide stealth equivalent to American submarines. Obviously, didn't. Engineers reviewed design specifications, identified weaknesses in propeller design, pump mounting systems, hull coatings. Corrections would require years and billions of rubles. Meanwhile, existing boats operated with compromised stealth characteristics. The fleet's effectiveness was degraded significantly. All because Montana's crew executed perfect tactical operation that reversed 11-day tracking mission. Chen received classified commendation from Strategic Command. Her tactical decisions and crew performance set new standard for submarine operations. The Navy used Montana's Arctic patrol as case study in submarine warfare schools. Every prospective submarine commander studied the engagement, learned how patience, superior technology, and tactical creativity defeat numerical parity. One American submarine versus 2 Russian boats. Americans won through preparation and skill rather than firepower. Was this submarine encounter tactical victory or intelligence goldmine? Leave your thoughts in the comments. The underwater domain remains most opaque military operating environment. Satellites don't penetrate ocean. Radar doesn't detect submerged submarines. Communication is difficult and limited. Submarine operations happen in silence and secrecy. Public rarely learns details, but outcomes shape strategic balance decisively. Nation-controlling undersea warfare can track enemy ballistic missile submarines, threaten adversary commerce, cut communication cables, project power invisibly. Submarine dominance matters more than most realize. American investment in submarine force pays dividends. Montana's operation demonstrated. Virginia-class program cost $134 billion for 30 boats planned. Expensive. But capability advantage over Russian and Chinese submarines justified every dollar. When single American boat can outperform 2 advanced adversary submarines, the investment proves worthwhile. Quality over quantity. Technology over numbers. Training over mass production. Those principles apply across military domains, but nowhere more clearly than submarine warfare. Russian submarine force continues operating, building new boats, training crews, but Montana's Arctic encounter damaged confidence fundamentally. If Yasen-class boats couldn't maintain stealth against Virginia-class submarine, what could? Nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines carried Russia's strategic deterrent, relied on hiding in ocean depths undetected. If American attack submarines could track Yasen boats easily, they could probably track ballistic missile submarines too. Russia's second strike capability suddenly seemed more vulnerable than assumed. Strategic calculations shifted based on one tactical encounter in Arctic waters. This level of submarine warfare analysis requires understanding classified capabilities without revealing operational secrets. If you value military coverage that explains implications without compromising security, hit that like button and share with anyone interested in undersea strategy. Modern submarine warfare combines technology, training, and tactics in unique ways. Sensors detect targets at extreme range. Computers process acoustic data instantly. Weapons strike with precision. But human decisions determine outcomes. Chen's choice to run deception operation for 11 days. Her timing of Crazy Ivan Plus maneuver. The psychological pressure applied through aggressive course toward Russian waters. Technology enabled these choices. Didn't make them. Skilled commanders leveraging superior platforms. That combination wins battles. The 11-day underwater duel ended with Montana surfacing through Arctic ice, demonstrating freedom of navigation beneath polar cap, broadcasting American submarine superiority, sending unmistakable message to Moscow and Beijing. American submarines own the underwater battle space. Others operate there only by American tolerance. Dramatic claim. But Montana's operation proved it accurate. 2 Russian boats tracking 1 American submarine. Americans detected them, gathered intelligence, forced them to break contact, surfaced victoriously. That sequence demonstrated dominance clearly. For submariners on both sides, the encounter reinforced eternal truths of their profession. Ocean hides many secrets. Superior technology matters. Training determines survival. Mistakes are unforgiving. Montana's crew trained extensively, operated advanced submarine, made correct decisions under pressure, succeeded completely. Kazan and Novosibirsk crews were professionally competent, operated modern boats, still lost because American advantages in technology and tactics were decisive. The undersea warfare competition isn't fair. America invested resources others couldn't match. Results showed in Arctic waters. What submarine capability should we examine next? What underwater technologies deserve detailed analysis? Your engagement tells us what content matters. Comment below with suggestions. Subscribe so you never miss investigations into military domains most people never see. Enable notifications to catch every video exploring capabilities, operations, and strategies that shape security from ocean surface to abyssal depths. Because submarine warfare determines strategic balance in ways aircraft carriers and tanks cannot.